The phone call that shattered Francesco Bagnaia's world came at 11:47 p.m. on a Sunday night, and what Gigi Dall'Igna said next would change MotoGP forever. This isn't just another racing story, this is the brutal inside account of how a two-time world champion became the most dangerous rider on the grid, not because of his speed, but because of his complete mental collapse that's now threatening Ducati's entire future. Imagine being Francesco Bagnaia right now. You wake up every morning knowing that millions of fans once cheered your name, but now they hold their breath every time you touch the throttle, wondering if today will be the day you finally lose everything. You're trapped inside a machine worth millions that feels like it's actively trying to kill you, while your teammate Marc Márquez turns the exact same bike into pure poetry. The psychological torture is beyond anything we've ever witnessed in MotoGP, and it's only getting worse. The San Marino Grand Prix at Misano was supposed to be Pecco's redemption story. This was his sanctuary, his home track, where Italian flags painted the grandstands red, white and green. 5 consecutive podiums in previous visits had made this place feel like his personal kingdom. The setup looked perfect. Qualifying just 3/10 off pole position suggested the nightmare might finally be ending. But MotoGP has a cruel sense of humour, and what happened next would make grown men cry. Saturday's sprint race revealed the horrifying truth that nobody wanted to acknowledge. Pecco didn't just lose positions, he evaporated through the field like his confidence was leaking from his bike with every corner. 13th place, at his home track, in front of his people. The body language told the complete story. Shoulders slumped, helmet hanging low, walking away from his bike like it had personally betrayed him. But if Saturday was painful, Sunday would become the moment that broke something fundamental inside Ducati's walls. Lap 9, turn 6, the crash that echoed around the world. The moment Pecco hit the gravel, something died inside every Ducati engineer watching. This wasn't just another racing incident, this was the sound of a championship dynasty crumbling in real time. The silence in the garage was deafening as mechanics stared at empty screens while Marc Márquez continued his relentless march toward another victory. The contrast was so brutal it felt deliberately scripted by the racing gods themselves. Here's where this story becomes absolutely insane. The GP25 was supposed to be Ducati's masterpiece. Engineers spent countless hours perfecting every component, creating what should have been the ultimate evolution of their championship-winning machine. Instead, they accidentally built Pecco's personal torture chamber. While Marc Márquez transformed the same bike into an unstoppable weapon, claiming 11 victories and rewriting racing history, Pecco couldn't even keep it on the track. The psychological impact of watching your teammates succeed with identical equipment is something no amount of money or engineering can fix. The desperation became so intense that Pecco turned to Casey Stoner for salvation. The Australian legend understood better than anyone what it meant to wrestle a wild Ducati into submission. His 2007 championship run was built on taming a machine that terrorized every other rider on the grid. Hours of secret consultations, ancient wisdom shared between champions, techniques that once seemed impossible. For brief moments in practice sessions, magic appeared to be working. Hope flickered back to life like a candle in a hurricane. But when the lights went out for the actual races, everything Stoner taught him evaporated into thin air. The techniques that worked in the calm of practice sessions became meaningless under the crushing pressure of wheel-to-wheel combat. Pecco's confession after Saturday's sprint cut deeper than any crash. "I was doing what he told me and it was working, but in the race, it wasn't. I'm living a nightmare." Those words revealed the terrifying truth. When a two-time world champion can't even apply expert advice under pressure, the problem goes far deeper than bike setup or riding technique. What happened after Sunday's crash will haunt MotoGP forever. While other riders celebrated victories or analysed defeats, Pecco vanished completely. Press conferences were postponed, then cancelled entirely. Hours passed in complete silence as he remained locked inside Ducati's private offices, surrounded by engineers staring at data that no longer made sense. When reporters finally tracked him down, his words hit harder than any high-speed impact. "I really don't know what you want me to say. I fell, that's all. I'm living a nightmare and just want to raise my head to see some light." Those weren't the words of a champion fighting back. They were the desperate cries of a man drowning in his own expectations. The passionate, animated Pecco, who once led Ducati's renaissance, had been replaced by a ghost haunting his own garage. Even more shocking was Ducati's response, a cold, clinical statement devoid of the passionate support they'd shown for months. The writing was already on the wall, but nobody expected what came next. The moment that shattered the MotoGP world arrived through Sky Italia's cameras. Gigi D'Aligna, the man who'd protected Pecco through every disaster, who'd built his reputation on loyalty and patience, finally reached his breaking point. "I've lost my patience too, and Pecco's fans have lost their patience too." Those words hit the paddock like a lightning strike because they meant everything had changed. Ducati's most powerful voice had gone public with frustration, signalling a seismic shift that would redefine everything. The numbers tell an even more devastating story than any crash footage ever could. 1 Grand Prix victory in 2025 compared to 7 at this point last year. 0 podiums in 5 consecutive races. 10 straight weekends without champagne celebrations. 2 complete race weekends without scoring a single championship point. 93 points behind Alex Márquez in the title fight. Barely 8 points ahead of Marco Bezzecchi. These aren't just statistics, they're mathematical proof of a career in complete freefall. What makes this tragedy even more brutal is watching success happen all around him. Marc Márquez has turned every weekend into a masterclass, proving the GP25 isn't cursed. It's just waiting for someone who can unlock its secrets. Alex Márquez continues extracting podium performances from last year's bike, reminding everyone that talent finds a way. Meanwhile, Pecco sits isolated in his own team, surrounded by evidence of his failure, while his colleagues soar to incredible heights. The Asian flyaway races approaching aren't just about championship points anymore, they're about survival. Ducati has options, younger talent is emerging, and patience has limits, even for 2-time world champions. Unless Pecco can rediscover the magic that once made him unstoppable, his time as Ducati's golden boy might be ending sooner than anyone imagined. The clock is ticking, and every lap could be his last chance to prove he deserves to stay. What do you think happens next in this incredible MotoGP drama? Will Pecco find his way back from this nightmare, or are we watching the end of a championship era? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because this story is far from over, and your insights might just predict the future of MotoGP. Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Trust me, you absolutely cannot miss what happens next in this unbelievable championship battle that's rewriting racing history before our eyes.